In this video, we are going to be covering what's going on in the markets. The goblins are totally dominating everything. There are also some major NFT drama where people are getting arrested for insider trading. And we're also going to be covering some of the latest updates on Parallax Genesis NFT. When we are on OpenSea right now, what's going on is goblins are totally dominating. Seems like there's going to be a goblin meta. Goblin Town itself is pumping all the way to 7.8 ETH, which is very unexpected. But hey, that's what it is. It's NFTs, right? And what's really interesting is that, when you look at number 2, number 3, and even number 5, it's all goblin derivatives. Let's go ahead and get into it, right? So when we are looking at number 2, Little Poop It NFT, essentially what it is, it's kind of like a goblin derivative in terms of like similar style, in terms of the colors, the line art and everything. But what it's going to be is basically just poop. And I guess that's kind of funny. It's a derivative of goblin. People like to gamble, and pretty much you're getting a lot of volume, right? This project has, 1.1K Ethereum volume, which is quite a bit. I'm not sure if it was a free mint or people actually had to pay for it. By the way, it's like running it up on OpenSea. If we look at, let's say number 3, which is Goblin Girls, right? Which is kind of like a derivative version of goblins, but females. They're going to be donating money to support women and non-binary artists, right? So, basically the same as Goblin Town, except they're doing females. And it's hard to say whether or not this is going to be something that lasts, but this 5,000 items, floor price 0.55 with 1.3K volume, right? So that's popping off as well. Then we have Zombie Town.wtf. So again, it's derivative. That's how it usually goes. So Zombie Town is also getting a lot of volume right now. So if you do decide to buy these things, understand that if you're gonna buy Goblin Town, honestly, at this point, maybe Goblin Town is gonna be a brand, right? Who knows? Because I've been talking about this like every day for the past few days because it's like top of the news in NFT world. They're really good at capturing attention. They got something unique that people like to talk about. It's a good story. So let's see if it, actually lasts a long time or if it's something that's gonna fade. I'm not gonna necessarily comment on my prediction because I literally do not know and I don't own any goblins. All right, so according to the website, what's gonna happen is they are reserving 1,000 goblins because they want to. So what does it mean by reserving? Does it mean that they're just going to drop it randomly to holders, or are they going to have some kind of system to raffle it or give it out as a reward based on people's contribution to the community and spreading the word? It remains to be unseen, but before I was a little skeptical because I was like, why are they holding 1,000? But it seems like they are going to give it back to the community, which is pretty cool. So Goblin Town seems like they're doing a good job. So let's follow along as the days go on because this is kind of exciting to see like what they do. Now, when it comes to Little Poop, Goblin Girls, and Zombie Town, you want to do is you want to think about like, okay, there's like 1 million Bored Ape Yacht Club derivatives and none of them are kind of popping off right now. So, even if Goblin Town becomes a thing and it becomes an actual brand, you have to understand that there's a lot of risk when it comes to Little Poop It NFT because, what kind of brand they're going to build from a derivative project that copied the art style and then just made it poop, right? It's funny right now. And again, like people love to gamble when it comes to buying NFTs and also buying like meme coins and things like that. So you have to understand the psychology behind why these things run up. And a lot of times, it's just a gambling game and that's how crypto kind of works in some capacity. Now, when we are looking at the overall sentiment of NFTs right now, for the most part in the last 24 hours, yes, there has been a lot of action going on in these random projects are kind of like meme-ish, but then there are also like more quality projects, let's say like Clonex, for example, Admit One, Moonbirds, they're also getting a lot of volume as well. Baby Goblins over here pumping it up like crazy, and again, derivative, right? But you see other projects that are, like 30 and downwards, kind of getting that negative volume. So again, there's not a lot of liquidity going into the space, and I'm sure a lot of people are probably going to try to mint their NFT in the month of June, and there probably will be more liquidity sucked out in the space, honestly. So you have to be very careful of that, be mindful of that, and if you do kind of play this gambling game, understand that macro pressures in general are going to push the NFT market down, in my personal opinion. Not financial advice, but I would be surprised if there was just a whole new wave of money coming in to pump Ethereum at this point, because who is going to front the money to do that, right? Real quick, some updates on the Parallax Genesis NFT. We actually just did our first public Twitter Spaces AMA. Actually, last night it was 2.5 hours long. We had about 400 to 500 people actually come live. So actually, it was really good to share about exactly what the Parallax NFT is, what we're trying to do in the future, and answer the community questions that everybody has. So if you want to listen to the recording, go ahead and check out my Twitter, and you can play the recording. But if you want to be more involved in the community and see what's up, probably the best way is to join the Parallax Discord, talk to different people, because we got a free alpha channel, we have free whitelist giveaways, so we have a lot of good stuff there. So make sure to check the link in the description if you want to learn more about the Parallax NFT dropping real soon. All right, and now in other news, NFT NYC is happening this month, and Azuki recently just announced one of their parties. From the rumors that people are spreading, they spent a lot of money on this, 2-day party, essentially like 2 nights. So it seems like this is going to be for Azuki holders and you can invite a +1. So it doesn't say that it's for Bean holders, it's going to be for Azuki holders. But if you do have Azuki, you want to make sure you come to this party if you're going to NFT NYC. And I'm sure, as more news comes out and, as we get closer to the date of NFT NYC, there will probably be a lot more different parties for different events, depending on what project you are holding. And I'm sure a lot of people will put events together. And if you are at New York during that time, I'm going to be there as well. So, if you want to link up, hit me up on Twitter, shout me out, and we'll see if we can make something happen. And we'll probably put together a Parallax event when I am there. All right, now in other news, this is actually quite dark for the NFT space, and that is the US charges OpenSea ex-employee in the first NFT insider trading. Now, if you've been on crypto Twitter, NFT Twitter for quite some time, you would know that this guy Nathan, we used to work at OpenSea, and essentially his job was to pick the projects that would go on the front page to feature, right? And according to the article and what everyone said in the past, it was claimed that he purchased the NFTs that he knew was going to go on the front page, and then he would just sell the pump whenever that attention came into that specific NFT project. So technically that is insider trading, and in the NFT space, there's not a lot of rules and regulations about that. I mean, obviously it's you probably shouldn't be doing that in the first place, but yeah, it's there are certain things that he did to try to hide his wallet and things like that, and he got caught, right? And when I first heard of that, I was like, okay, he got fired from his job, makes sense because you're not supposed to do that, but I was not expecting this to be such a big case of the US charges OpenSea ex-employee for insider trading, and seems like it's actually pretty serious, right? And that's pretty interesting because I feel like me being in the NFT space for a while, I definitely have seen other people do a lot worse things in crypto and NFTs, and it's interesting that this particular case suddenly became a big deal on the news and stuff when there are other people that did stuff that is way worse, and we don't hear too much about that, right? I mean, maybe it's kind of like a planned thing of the news coming together to create a certain narrative about NFTs, or maybe to scare certain people from not doing these kind of shady things. I'm not really sure, but I would also say that, for people who have done certain things in the past that they probably shouldn't have done, the blockchain doesn't lie. You can't hide your history, especially if you sent money to your wallet where you're KYC'd. So I think a lot of people moving forward are going to be a lot more careful in the space, which is great because you're going to have a lot less people doing rug pulls, less people promoting things that they probably shouldn't be promoting. It's pretty dark. It kind of sucks, right, for whoever's involved in this situation. But overall, when we look at the growth of the entire market and the health of the entire market, I think that's kind of necessary to have these certain procedures to prevent people from doing these kind of inside trading kind of things. So it's interesting for the space for sure. So I'm going to be following along. Hopefully this will actually discourage people from, doing things that they shouldn't in the NFT space, because there's a lot of that going on, definitely. Now, in other news, switching it up, we're going to be talking about Kanye West over here. And it seems like he and his team is filing multiple trademarks for Yeezus and metaverse experiences. So basically, the name Yeezus and probably all the other names that Kanye West owns, he's filing trademarks for it, right? So I think, in the future, there might be a possibility where Kanye West and other big artists get into metaverse plays, get into NFTs, because the way I see it, it is kind of the future. And I feel like NFTs in general, in my personal opinion, and it's just a belief, I could be wrong, NFTs are going to be just used so commonly throughout the world, just like how the internet is, right? People used to be like, oh, we're an internet business when the internet came out, but now it's literally every company has to be on the internet. And I feel like NFTs is just a way to own something digitally, right? And everybody understands ownership. I feel like he's probably doing that because in the future, if he ever wanted to do metaverse plays and NFT plays, he could, and he owns all the trademarks and nobody can take it from him. But if he doesn't do that, totally fine, right? But I personally think that in the future, we were talking years from now, a lot of musicians, especially higher tier musicians, will get into the space. And we've seen other companies like SoundMint, for example, they are onboarding some, talented artists coming into the space, and that's probably going to be announced real soon. I can definitely say that there are higher tier artists thinking about NFTs as a revenue stream. So that's something to watch out for. I also think, in a way, music NFTs is actually good for the space overall, because a lot of times in the NFT space, when people are just buying and selling, 10K PFP projects, there's not a lot of liquidity coming into the space. But if an artist who has building their brand for a decade or years, ask people to buy NFT on Ethereum, for example, then you have more liquidity in the space, more people, signing up for MetaMask, getting a wallet and stuff like that. And it just adds more volume into the space and things can actually, increase, right? So I'm pretty bullish on music NFTs in general. I don't know if now is the time where it's going to pop off, but I can, make the prediction that in the future, a lot more artists will be successful when it comes to, selling their art as NFTs and kind of fundraising their creative ability to do that versus going to a record label, right? Because NFTs obviously obviously is a way to almost crowdfund your passion. Now, in other random mainstream news, if you've been following the Johnny Depp case, basically won the case. I'm not going to go into the drama of like what happened over there because that's not this type of channel, but he definitely won the case, and a lot of people who are rooting for him are happy about that. And then we also see that his NFT project, which has been out for a few months now, has received a little bit of a pump because there's just so much attention on Johnny Depp right now. His NFT project is called Never Fear the Truth, and it kind of fits with the theme of the case and everything like that. So I think a lot of people kind of are interested in this project all of a sudden, right? But yeah, I mean, it's just another example of a Web 2 person. I wouldn't even call him a Web 2 person. He's more of a brand, right? Getting into the space and creating an NFT, creating a private club for his community. So I definitely can respect that, and it's pretty cool. And so that said, that's it for this video. I will see you guys in the next one.